त्वमादिदेवः पुरुषः पुराणः त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परम निधानम वेत्तासि वेद्यम च परम सदहाम त्वया ततम विश्वमनंत रूप वायु यमः अग्निवर्णः च शंकः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहस्य नमो नमस्तेस्तु सुहृतकृत्वा पुनश्च भूयोपि नमो नमस्ते। You are primeval God, the primordial spirit. You are the ultimate shelter of the universe. You are the knower, the noble and supreme abode. The universe is fully pervaded by you, being of infinite forms. You are the God of wind, God of death, God of fire and water, moon god and great grandfather of beings. We salute to you thousands and thousands and again. In last session, about 12 sessions, I have described about the Trigunamai Maya, the three types of illusion and their effect. And Trigunamai Maya is very hard and we cannot know in very simple way because that is not simple. And without knowing about Trigunamai Maya, we cannot get salvation or mukti. God Krishna has told one slok about it. Devi Hesha Gunmayi Mam Maya Duratya Mameo ye prapadante Maya metam tarante Maya metam tarante. So what is taranti? What is liberation? I want to describe this fact in this session. What is liberation? What is mukti? And many Sikhs and many thinker philosophers have described about the mukti and the means of mukti or salvation. So firstly, I want to describe in this session about the mukti. What is mukti? Salvation. Generally, we know that by instinct, we all take birth. The lives and attain death. The journey from birth and death is generally called life. What is life? Journey from birth to death is called life. How many births have we had and how many times have we died? We do not know. Many times I secured birth and I received death. We do not know. Because we do not know that our memories regard is forgotten. Being oblivious means that our brain does not know how many times we have taken birth from the beginning of the universe and how many times we have died. Why does it disappear? We do not even know this. Taking birth again rego- and regaining death and battling many problems throughout life is the really, thus the really of life. We consider we to be a feeling of extreme pain in the mother's womb. Walking is a difficult cycle of lifelong problems and suffering at the time of death. At present, hardly any person finds you who is not struggling with problems. Everyone says that I am upset, I am surrounded by problems, there is no peace, and I have no peace in my life. I am surrounded in many problems in the world, and I have no peace, I am peaceless. Problems of livelihood, suffering of disease, etc. They disturb people throughout their life, even if there is no birth, death is not available to us. The journey before death and after death is called life. For this reason, the journey of life is taught from the birth and ends at death. Where there is a birth, there is a death. When we born, then we died. For the reason, finish. The death is liberation, which can happen after Maya becomes past. If we conquer the Maya and go in shelter of Lord Krishna, then we get mukti or salvation. We know though that gradually or we complete our life journey. This is a purpose that goes on. Now if you look at the events, your life journey, you will find, and most of the life struggle has been complete. There have been many problems and moments. The person who is of the level has problems at that level. Most of the people complete their life journey by having problems. If there is no birth, then there will be no life and there will be no death. Therefore, follow this definition of liberation that if we want to be separated from birth and death, then we have no make efforts for it. Before the present birth, there was a life, and after death, there will be many lives. Let us understand this fact clearly. The present life may be of 100 years, but that the life before birth was thousands of millions of years, and even after death, it will be thousands of billions of years. We do not have the enemy of past, but it is mentioned in the scriptures which we are bound to believe. There is no alternative before us and today's science. We have to agree, which is mentioned to some scriptures about the liberation. Salvation is free from birth and death. Salvation means free from birth and death. It is clear definition of the salvation or liberation. A free man resides in supreme abode of God, where there is complete lack of suffering and there is complete separation of problems. The supreme abode of God is free from sorrow, suffering, problems, mourning, etc. Sun, moon, and fire do not illuminate the abode of God. God abode in Paramdham, which in Bhagavad Gita it is defined न सूर्यो न शशांको न तदभास्ते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावका यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. The sun, moon and fire does not illuminate the Paramdham, supreme abode. If you attain the Paramdham, a supreme abode, you will not return in this world. Supreme abode of God, free from sorrow, suffering, problems, mourning, etc. Sun, moon, and do not illuminate this abode of God. There is a divine, supernatural, divine light. We can attain the age of 100 years in this world, and too is full of many troubles, problems, sorrows. Sometimes there is suffering of family and society. And sometimes there is suffering of disease. Sometimes a divine disaster makes us sad. Salvation is the name of the ultimate liberation of these types of sufferings. It is considered to be the ultimate purpose, and human life's achievement is not or comfortable as it seems. For this we have to be infinite multiplied. Many people ignore the fact mentioned in scriptures and ridicule it. They should consider that there is a belief of logical views on every fact. Logical and experimental ideas on earth subject or eventually considered and accepted. What are the differences in life or very living? What are the problems? When we think about it, then only we see differences, problems. We fight is to resolve these problems, troubles. Why do? The answer is that end of all it is. Troubles, difficulties. Normally, we are not handsome. I try to go to a cold place, avoid the effects of sunlight. Similarly, when we are cold, writer, we search for hot things and resources. This sequence of happiness and tomorrow goes on. If we find a place, there is no cold summer, pleasant sorrow, then this work will be called best work, because the problems like winter, summer, happiness and sorrow to be completely eliminated. So I am presenting the views. And what is liberation? What is salvation? There is a place which is called Param Dham, supreme abode. This ultimate abode is usually attained after liberation. Salvation comes from the transgression of the qualities of Maya, and only then we become past Maya. These are all essential facts. Encroachment of virtues is a state of unending existence. Attainment of liberation from the unending existence and continual abode is the supreme abode from the liberation. Complete retirement from the problems of cold, heat, happiness and sorrow, etc. from the conditional residences in Paramdham. Now you have to make sure that you want to live in this world at the form of death and rebirth or want to liberation. For those who want to be liberated, they are referring to the process of elimination based on the means of my life. This topic is meaningless for those who do not want liberation. So what is liberation? I have described some facts about liberation or salvation. Mukti, about Mukti. When we born, we get death. It is simple fact. If we not born, we cannot get it. And this cycle of birth and death is finished. That is to be said salvation. And this session is ending, and we will meet tomorrow morning about a new subject. A doubtless person is capable of liberation. How can we achieve liberation? How can we get salvation? This is one factor, that doubtless. If we have doubt that we cannot get liberation, if we want salvation, that we should finish doubts. This is the spiritual fact. And I will define tomorrow in the morning. A doubtless person can attain liberation or salvation. We welcome you tomorrow's morning. Om Shahnao Vatu Shahnao Bhunaktu Shaviryam Karvavahai Yushinavatitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.